of riding this scooter. It was one of the first scooters I got about 2 years ago. This scooter can do about 19 miles an hour when the battery is fully charged. As the battery gets lower and lower, you have less top speed, but it could always do at least 15 miles an hour, even if it was down to its last 20 or 30%. So it's not super fast, doesn't have insane range, but is a really good, I think, entry-level scooter if you're going on flat terrain, modest distances. Now, if you have to go off-roading or if you have to go up and down hills, it's only a 350 watt motor. It's pretty small. It doesn't do great up hills. And the thing has almost no suspension at all. I mean, what does it do here? Let's see. It's pretty stiff, but it's definitely not a super comfortable scooter, but it's like a rental scooter, similar in quality to the rental scooters. And again, this is my first scooter. I really liked it when I first. What I really love about it is, I haven't picked it up for a while. I haven't used it for a while. Is it's just super, super light. I think, but I'm not sure, it weighs 35 pounds. So this scooter at the time cost me 900 bucks with the extended battery. This technically is the ES4. The ES2 doesn't have the extended battery. You could definitely get this scooter without the secondary battery, and I bet you can find these for under 550 bucks on Amazon right now. And I think this is a great scooter if you're going less than 5 miles each direction, 5 days a week. So this is the next level up in scooters. When you start to talk about a price range of, $1,500 approximately. Not so much low thousands, but really specifically at about the $1,500 price point, you start to look at scooters like this. This is really my own rebranded scooter. It's got very similar specs to either a Speedway 4 or an emove cruiser. You can tell by looking at it, it's just more burly, it's just thicker, bigger tires, front and rear brakes. It still is a single motor scooter though. There's only one motor, it's in the rear hub, but it's a 600 watt motor as opposed to like a 300 or 350 watt motor. So definitely just more of a durable scooter, gives you longer distances. I was easily getting 35 miles range on these scooters. I've driven about 5,000 or 6,000 miles on this type of scooter. I have it with the seat, you don't have to have a seat. Top speed on this is going to be around 30 miles an hour in the low 30s, especially when you're fully charged. I generally would ride it around in second gear, keep it in the mid 20 mile per hour range just to get maximum distance. You got the adjustable stem, the adjustable handlebars, you got the horn, you got the lights, you got a bigger deck. It's just the next level up in scooter. Everything is slightly bigger, everything is a little more durable, and these scooters I find are great for your next scooter. And now as you go up in price range, you're looking at a $2,200 scooter. I think you can probably have to pay between $2,200 and $2,500 for this particular model. This is the Dualtron 2 Limited. So I say it over and over, this is really my favorite scooter out of the 10 scooters that I've owned. The price point might be a little high if it's your first scooter, but if you want to make your first scooter purchase your last scooter purchase, you start with the Dualtron. A lot of it just depends on what your needs are. If you're going short distances, you can get a cheaper scooter. But if you're going to go 10 miles a day or more, you should look at the Dualtron models 100%. The company has been around the longest. The scooters have been tested in the long run more than any other scooter. If you're going to go online and say there are a lot of negative reports about Dualtrons, it's only because they've been around the longest, so there are more people to report on systemic problems. Once you start looking at Dualtrons, you start looking at scooters that are going to last, I think, at least 10,000 miles before you have really any sort of problems. So when you start to look at the Dualtron as compared to the previous scooter, again, it's just a little bigger, a little burlier. The same size tires actually, these are still 10 by 2.5 inch tires. The deck is a little bigger. The suspension on these is just a little more serious than on the ES4 or anything smaller than it. And these scooters have a motor in the rear tire and in the front and rear hub motors. These things go super, super fast. This guy can go 40 miles an hour if it wants to. It's got unbelievable torque and acceleration. When you are in second or third gear and you pull the throttle, you can get thrown off this thing. So not only do these things become more expensive, but they become generally more dangerous. You want to wear a full face helmet with this thing for sure, and gloves, knee pads at a minimum. But this is the next level up in scooters. To me, this is where you start to get into sort of serious scooter ownership. This particular scooter, if you've seen my reviews, has been in 2 bad accidents, but it's holding up unbelievably well. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of play in the stem. You can barely see it. You can see it in my review of it. but no scooter is perfect. That little bit of play in the stem is not a problem. It's not getting worse. Dualtron 2 Limited, 22 to 2,500 bucks. That's the third price point. Then when you finally get up to the highest price point for, you know, commercially available scooters, you're looking at a Dualtron Ultra. This was my first Dualtron. I almost regret buying it. Not that I don't love it, but it's almost too powerful. It's got a top speed of almost 50 miles per hour. There's unbelievable torque and acceleration. This was my first scooter that I ever had with these giant 11-inch tires. The difference between 10 and 11-inch tires is not an inch. It's just a gigantic tire. The scooter originally came with off-road tires. I turned them into road tires since I'm mostly on the street. But again, as you go up in price point, everything is just bigger, faster, heavier, stronger. This scooter weighs like 90 freaking pounds. This scooter is really heavy. Again, just like all the Dualtrons, it has a rear and front hub motor tire. That's why it's called the Dualtron, dual as in two motors. When you pull the trigger on this baby in first, second, or third gear, it can send you flying. Again, full face helmet, elbow pads, and gloves at a minimum on these scooters. Dualtron Ultra. A lot of people consider this the off-road version of a Dualtron. That the Dualtron Thunder, which is one level above this in a price point, has a couple of extra things. This has a very basic suspension built into the levers, and you can kind of see it. It definitely has a decent amount of give, and it's mainly comfortable because of its size. If you want to go fast on a scooter, I believe it needs to be heavy. I do every once in a while put this scooter into its highest gear and go 45, 48 miles an hour for short spurts, and because it's heavy, nothing is vibrating. I do think that the stem on this might be the best stem on the market. No play at all. It's at 4,200 miles, about 7,000 kilometers. So this is the Dualtron Ultra. This scooter cost me 3,800 bucks total. That's with tax and with the supercharger. I also bought it with a seat. So you're talking about 3,800 bucks out the door. And I really do love this scooter, but if I could go back in time, I would go back and buy a second Dualtron 2 Limited if I needed a second scooter. Guys, I'm Yogi Steve. This is the Electric Scooter Academy. Please subscribe to the page, like this video if you like this type of content, and you know I appreciate you following it along. Thank you, fellow pioneers of human transportation. Be safe and healthy out there.
Strongest country in the world today, only because we are the freest country in the world today. And I don't ever forget that strength lies in our principle to be free.